It's still hard to believe how much of Damascus and its suburbs were pounded to dust by the Assad regime and his Russian military supporters. His own people killed or made homeless in a remorseless campaign of bombing. Its people are trying to move on, but many remain in the midst of the ruins. Rebuilding remains a distant hope. The various militias that supported HTS, the group that led the takeover of Syria, are now in the matching black uniforms of the newly created General Security Unit. They are always present, but by the standards of other revolutions, they are keeping quite a low profile. We drove to meet the youthful head of security in Damascus. He is Abdul Rahman Dabag, a cousin of the country's new president. Overlooking the city, he explained, to move forward, Syria must also hunt down the senior leaders of the Assad regime who terrorized the entire population.
Syrians have every right to see justice served for those who caused them harm during the reign of this now defunct regime. By nature, every human finds comfort in witnessing accountability, justice, and the rightful reclaiming of what was taken.
In the oldest capital city in the world and its ancient souk, dating back 5,000 years, things do look fairly normal. The trading and shopping in this bustling covered market goes on. But barely a family here was untouched by the regime and its relentless program of detentions and torture in jails across the country. Baria was locked up for 100 days, accused of feeding anti-Assad demonstrators. Inside her jail, she says, torture was the norm. Could you hear torturing taking place a lot of the time of other prisoners?
Yes, the cries of the men, so many, over and over again, too much. It would begin as soon as the sun went down. The torture was endless. My husband wasn't spared. I recognized his cries. They tormented him. One of the inmates called out to him, shouting that his family was here. The warders heard her, came straight for him. They dragged him away and beat him in the corridor. They tortured him relentlessly, with no regard for his age. He was born in 1955. I take my grievance to God.
7 of her relatives died in jail. Amongst them, her husband, one of her sons, and her 2 brothers. The memories still haunt her. This ancient country's recent history is still raw. From the detention cells, untouched since its inmates were freed in December, to the military hospital morgues and operating rooms that saw demonstrators tortured and murdered in places built to save lives, not extinguish them. The legacy of the Assad tyranny is pain and death. It will never be forgotten. It will never be washed away. Stuart Ramsay, Sky News, Syria.